Hey, I'm Jessie Heron, host of Rediscover Your Story, a podcast for marketers who need a break from the everyday learning, but still want to hear from like-minded professionals on all things creative. Today, we're going to talk with Brendon Cull, president of the Cincinnati Chamber, and we're going to hear his spark story. It's pretty cool. Also, we're going to hear about all the amazing things happening in Cincinnati. And with that, let's rediscover his story.
My favorite place in college, Dana Gardens.
Oh my gosh.
Great Xavier nighttime bar.
We just went to Dana to do a social media post. It was like dive bar day or something.
Oh, yeah.
So we all went over there. I had never been in there
To
before.
Dana's?
To Dana's. I've never been to. And I married a Xavier grad. Can you believe that?
Oh my God.
I know. So my husband, he's a Xavier grad. We come to the campus once a year, go to the basketball game. He tours the kids. The kids are like, yeah, Dad, we know that's the fountain. You poured the soap in. We don't care.
Yeah.
But we've never been to Dana's.
Oh, Dana's is a great spot.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time there.
What do you think about Xavier maybe having this like football team? What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's fun. I remember, we used to have those T-shirts that said Xavier football undefeated since 1970, whatever. Which
Yeah,
I
like
thought
78 or 79.
Yeah, which is always really great fun.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Greg Christopher is the athletic director and kind of leads all of that, VP of all of that work over there. And I think he has got a good vision for how that could, they're not going to be the Ohio State University Buckeyes.
No.
That's what I grew up in Columbus. I'm a Buckeye fan.
Yeah.
They're never going to be that.
Yeah.
But I think it's fun to have on campus. I think the students would find it great. There's 100, young men who would probably come to campus to play football, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that we would be, in line getting our season tickets.
I
think we would. Yeah.
I think it would be, again, it's not going to be a 25,000 person thing, but it would be kind of fun on a Saturday afternoon to go watch Xavier play at a field.
Yeah, I think so too. And then go to Dana's.
Yeah, and go to Dana's. Yeah. And by the way, you're right. The other thing I want to say about where we are, which this is kind of getting into some of the reasons I'm so bullish on the city and what's going on in the community right now is the Wasson Way goes right by through here from a bike trail perspective. My wife, Becky, and I have been involved in that personally as contributors to the development of the Crown Trail, which is a 34-mile trail that goes through the entire city. And the heart of it is coming right through Xavier and Evanston, connecting Hyde Park and Evanston for the first time since the highway came through 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's a huge development in terms of adding economic development, connecting people to communities and everything that Cincinnati has to offer. So I'm stoked about the Wasson Way and its continued extension.
Yeah, if you drive right down the street, you see people on bikes. With it being summer.
All the time, yeah.
All the time. I see them coming out. And then it's really kind of cool because, honestly, there's like the Starbucks right there that they could kind of go to. There's, I think, a couple more like restaurants and things opening up right there. Yeah. So it's really awesome.
It's really great. It's awesome.
Yeah. So are you native Cincinnati? Or you said you're from Columbus,
right?
Yeah,
I grew up in Columbus, out on the northwest side of Columbus. My parents are still up there. I came here to go to Xavier and then never really left. In fact, I've never lived, this is going to sound almost provincial, but I've never lived more than 5 miles from Xavier since I moved to Cincinnati. I've been in, Hyde Park and Evanston for a while. We lived in Walnut Hills, in Columbia, Tusculum, and now in Clifton. And so been all around kind of city neighborhoods, but Xavier's really kind of been our home base since I got here.
That's pretty
almost
awesome.
30 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you just fell in love with Cincinnati.
I did. I loved to hear it. My spark story, that's what some people say.
Spark, I love that. Spark story. Okay,
let
me hear your spark story.
Okay, I'm going to borrow. I'm going to tell you where that comes from.
Okay.
So during COVID, I got into birds, believe it or not. I sat and looked out that window all the time, and so I was watching the birds. And there's such a thing as a spark bird, is what people say. It's like the first bird that you see that makes you feel like you want to follow birds around. Really? So I turned that into the idea of a spark story with Cincinnati. Like, what's the first thing that made you feel like this was home? And believe it or not, and as corny as it sounds, it was the WBN fireworks, which is kind of now like people do that. And it's been around forever, and it's great. But our Labor Day fireworks just blew my mind. We'd never done anything like that.
You're on the river.
You went down there. Yeah. We went down. I was a student. I felt, connected to the city for the first time. In Columbus, we lived pretty far from the downtown. Seeing how physically beautiful the city is. I was with people that I liked, and I just felt like it was one of those wonderful experiences where I looked around and I said, this is where I want to stay.
That's kind of incredible that you have, well, first of all, I love the spark story. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of incredible that like an actual Cincinnati, very, I don't know, like community event was what made you fall in love with Cincinnati. And
now I work at the Chamber.
And now you work at the Chamber.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your whole like job and role and passion for the city gets to shine every day now, right?
It does. It wakes up, you wake up, and part of the job is being an optimist about the city. No doubt. There's not a lot of room for, man, things aren't going well here. The fortunate thing is things are going really well in this community, and we have incredible momentum, whether it's, job growth in our region. I'm looking at MedPace adding a bunch of jobs in Madisonville, a company called DMG downtown, hundreds of jobs on Fountain Square. That kind of large scale corporate job creation growth is tremendous. I think you're seeing public investments at an all-time high, and, obviously, the Brent Spence Bridge leads the way in that conversation, which is huge. But things like the Wasson Way, we're talking about capping Fort Washington Way between downtown and the banks, which would be amazing. The Central Parkway in front of FC Stadium and everything that's happening around FC. So physically, the city is becoming more of an attractive place for people to come. And then you've got, just this, I think, kind of youthful optimism that stems from creative leaders taking roles in this community to shape the future. And, Blink sits at the center of that. The Chamber produces Blink.
We know all about Blink.
You know all about Blink. There's nothing. I talked about the experience seeing the fireworks for the first time when I'm 19 years old. The reason I said that seems almost quaint is because now, almost 30 years later, we do Blink. And if you are downtown during Blink, the beauty of the city, the amount of people, the diversity of the people, the energy, the feel, the community.
It's contagious.
It does make the fireworks are amazing, but it makes Blink is 150 million times more impactful in terms of shaping the future of the city. And that's no disrespect to the fireworks, because the fireworks are awesome. Yeah. But the point is like, this has become this region, community, city defining event that helps us really chart our course for the future.
Yeah, no, it's kind of amazing because, obviously we work with you guys on capturing and, the video content for Blink, but I am a suburban person, so I'm up in Westchester. But here's the thing is like, coming down to the city, I mean, there were like shuttles and buses, and it's just this vibrancy and this this connectivity that Blink brings for all the neighborhoods. So it's not just like a Cincinnati thing, it's a Westchester people coming down thing. It's a Covington thing. It's a, Steve over there, he had the church was basically across from his apartment. So Steve, you were pretty invested in Blink.
Oh, I was very invested. Yeah. I would, that whole week I would just go down to where the church was and kind of see what they were doing next. It was very exciting to be a part of.
Yeah.
I like that we do off-camera voices in here.
This is very professional, Brendon.
It's like a TV show. Like Ellen, didn't Ellen do that all the time? I know you're not Ellen, but
I don't. There's a lot of people that do it, I guess.
I think it's great.
I know, it's kind of incredible here, right? But no, I mean, it's a whole community connectivity.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just find it to be fascinating. I'm happy to say that I'm from Cincinnati.
Oh, for sure. You probably tell people we do Blink. In Cincinnati, we do Blink.
We do Blink.
And so when you're traveling, you should come because we do this thing called Blink. That to us means that we're succeeding because you live in Westchester, you own Blink.
Yes.
The person who lives in Covington, that person owns Blink.
Yes.
And this is why we do it. This is why it's so much fun for us.
Well, and the other thing so I've been working downtown for most of my career. And so I do feel a connectivity to Cincinnati from a business vibrancy piece as well. And, it's interesting when people talk about, you listen to the radio stations, NPR, whatever, and you hear people talk about economy and things and how, it's a little unsettling. But I still feel like even now when I'm driving into work, driving closer into the city, I feel that energy. There's so much happening. And every day I'm learning about new businesses that are popping up in Cincinnati. This isn't new to you, but new to me, Home Shake. I'm like, I can't wait to meet with them. I'm meeting with them in a couple of
Jonathan,
weeks.
No. Jonathan Benny's the guy who is running Home Shake.
Yes, him and his co-founder, and now I'm blanking on his name, but he's the one I'm meeting with. I was connected with him. But I was looking it up. I'm like, this is out of Cincinnati.
It's really cool.
That's
Jonathan,
so cool.
Homeshake's an interesting business. You know, we featured them in our magazine Realm, REALM, Realm,
Yes.
Journal for Queen City CEOs. We publish that quarterly, and it's on our website, so you can take a look at it there. It's a really cool look at what's happening in Cincinnati all across the span: economic development, job creation, startups, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. I just got the latest one. I
Yeah,
liked your
it's good.
picture.
It
was a good picture.
Oh my God.
It was a good picture.
I got way too many texts from friends. I think we're going to go back to the standing version there. I'm not comfortable with that.
No, I loved it though.
Lorette
I
loved it. Lorette
Yes.
loved the picture, which is why I went with it.
Shout out to Lorette. She's the best.
Shout out to Lorette. I got, yes, some of my good friends decided to use that as, they made a little fun, but it was all good.
It's all right. It's all good. But I think the point is, I mean, you hear of new businesses all the time popping up in Cincinnati. I think we have an amazing startup community. I just went to the like a pitch night a couple weeks ago at Mad Tree and got to hear from even just some of these other startups. I love to just kind of see what's going on. And I don't know, I'm always blown away from big business to medium-sized business, us, small business, and to startup. I think that it's just, I don't know. It's really cool. And from your perspective, I was
it's a great diversity of the economy here. And that's one of the things that makes us strong, is that we have done really well with, large businesses, mid-sized businesses, manufacturers, advanced manufacturing. You know, the port of Greater Cincinnati is doing so much work to attract. They're creating spaces for advanced manufacturers to be able to grow. They have a whole plan around Queensgate and Camp Washington, which is really cool. And then they partner with READY, which is our economic development attraction effort here in Cincinnati, to actually get businesses to locate here. And that kind of strategy around economic development really sets us apart from other communities.
Yeah. I think another thing that sets us apart is we've got a pretty winning city right now.
Yeah, right? Right?
How amazing.
Did you gasp when Joe Burrow went down?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that
was like,
Yeah, exactly. I know. No,
it's a
I
calf
think
strain. That's it.
I know. I was like, guys, he's just dehydrated. Just get him some.
That was not a dehydration fall.
I know, but I was trying to like settle everybody who was sending text messages. I'm like, he's just dehydrated.
No.
He needs some electrolytes. He'll be
He'll
back
be okay.
up. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
He'll be okay.
Yeah. No, but like our Reds too. They are red hot, right?
I at the beginning of the season, you always root for the Reds. There's no better feeling in this
Opening
community.
day.
Opening day is amazing.
Yep.
It's talk about optimism. If you want to define what optimism is, it's a Cincinnatian on opening day.
Yes.
And this year has been really, proven it out. The Reds are hot. They've got these. There was a time here I remember when Adam Dunn and Austin Kearns were playing together, and we had this young team that felt very much like of this community.
Yes.
And there were obviously other players too. I feel that again right now with L.A. De La Cruz and Jonathan India and Steer and some of these other players right now.
Matt McLean, all of them.
Yeah. This feels like people that you get invested in. They have great stories.
Yeah.
You want to watch them. You want to know what they're up to. With the anchor of Joey Votto, of course, who's having a great year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was there the night that
It feels so good.
It does. Yeah. I was there the night that he had his debut again, right?
Yeah.
And he's cranking some home
Homers,
runs
yeah.
already that first night, and it was amazing. And I was like, I think I'm going to be able to watch baseball past August this year.
Which is exciting.
This is the year,
We're in August. We're watching baseball.
Yeah, we're watching baseball. And we got tickets in August already just for some future games, and it was kind of surprising. I'm like, it's not easy to get close right now because people are selling out their tickets.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's awesome.
It's great.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine leads ticket marketing and sales for the Reds. And this has just been a great year for them.
Yeah.
Because they had a plan. They weren't sure how the year was going to go. This has obviously exceeded everybody's expectations, and they are making the best of it. They're doing such a good job. The fan experience down there is really terrific. They're bringing the concerts in. They've just been really smart about the whole thing.
Yeah, that and FC. That's blowing
Of course,
up.
yeah.
I mean, how do we have, again, we have the Reds, we have
All three.
SC, we have Bengals.
I know.
Yeah, it's
It's
kind
amazing.
of amazing. Yeah, exactly.
I've lived here, like I said, 28 years. The last few years with the sports teams particularly the Bengals performing the way they've been performing, it does add so much. We did some reports with our Center for Research and Data to look at the economic effect of going to a playoff game or going to the Super Bowl. And it's meaningful that when people are happier, and the teams winning makes them happy, they spend more money. So our economy, even though the game was in LA when we were in the Super Bowl, in Kansas City in the championship, there's a boost in our local economy, not just from people buying shirts and stuff, but they're going to the grocery store and having parties. They're having friends over. They're going out to bars. They just feel better.
Yeah.
And that happy effect does lead to a better performing local economy. So, hey, keep winning.
Yeah, keep winning. And then what about the effect that Taylor Swift had on our city? I mean, did you go to the concert?
I did. I have 2 daughters.
Okay. Yeah.
And Maggie and Ginny. Maggie's 9. She was just about to be 9 when Taylor Swift was here, and Ginny's 6, and it was their first concert.
Awesome.
My sister came in from Virginia and went with us too, and it was incredible. The show was awesome. They had so much fun. They danced almost the entire time. Maggie danced the entire time. Ginny got a little tuckered out last half hour.
I was gonna say, did she fall asleep?
No, she didn't fall asleep, but she
That's
just
good.
she knows her limits, and she sat down. Which was fun.
That's perfect.
They're
That's
cute.
perfect.
But I got to tell you, I like Taylor Swift. I'm a fan. I had my bracelets on and everything.
Who's not? Right.
Who's not?
Right.
I had more fun watching my girls than I did Taylor Swift. So they were right in front of me, and I just watched them the whole time because they danced and they were talking to each other. It was great.
Yeah, I know. It was really incredible. And again, the vibrancy of the city. It was so cool to see everybody downtown. We went to the Friday show. I don't know about you.
We did too.
Yeah, we went to the Friday show, and I actually took a half day. Got all my friends, all of our daughters.
Did you tailgate?
So we tailgated. We packed up in the minivan, very suburban mom style.
Yeah,
packed up in the minivan,
nice.
brought all of our crock pots, our coolers, everything. We were lucky though. My cousin has an apartment at the Big, so she's right above Jefferson Social.
Oh my gosh.
So, Brendon, no,
Was it crazy?
It was crazy, but we had such an easy entry into her parking garage right under the building, and then easy exit, so that was fine. But it was just so cool to be right there at the banks, see all of the madness, experience the madness, have air conditioning if we wanted air conditioning.
I talked to Elizabeth Blackburn from the Bengals, who's awesome, and a friend, and is just doing such a great job with kind of team engagement strategy at the team.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, and we were kind of debriefing the concerts over the last month at downtown, and what we were talking about was just how well everything worked.
Yes.
The ingress and egress from the stadium. I mean, we left on Friday night, and we were home in 30 minutes. It was amazing.
Same.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And the police officers.
So nice.
So cool. So engaged. Trading bracelets with my daughter.
It was great.
It was the coolest thing. I mean, again, what an experience. And I don't know, what do you think? 5 years out, what do you think people are going to say about the Taylor Swift concert and like the impact on our city? And
I think so concerts are, I go to a lot of concerts.
You're a music guy?
I'm a music guy. I'm a Bruce Springsteen traveler, so I'll go on the road a few times a year to see him when he's touring.
Cool.
Other shows as well. I think that while it was, a concert's a fleeting event, right? People go, they remember it. I think for us, that was such a big concert, 2 nights, that the long tail effect of it is that it reminds people that we can do big things here.
Exactly.
And so there are going to be other artists who say, oh yeah, they ran Taylor Swift very well, and that's the biggest of the big that you can do. And so I think that has that effect on attracting other people here. And remember, while there were concerts going on, there was a Reds game, there was an FC game, and again, the city functioned pretty well. Like there was no problems, no safety, no crime concerns, no traveling around concerns. And when you can communicate to the world that you can do those sorts of big things well, then that makes people want to use this place as a city to produce big things like that. That's why we can do Blink here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're a small city, right? I mean, you can walk from the east side to the west side in a matter of 10, 15 minutes, right? You can walk from OTR to the banks. I've done it in like 12 and a half minutes, right? You can do it. But we also can have these amazing large events, like you said, multiple large events in one weekend, and everything be perfectly fine.
We've got Oktoberfest.
And it was hot.
It was hot, yeah. We've got Oktoberfest coming up in middle of September. Same weekend as the Bengals home opener. Same weekend as the Western and Southern bike ride down.
Ride Cincinnati.
And it'll all be fine. Ride Cincinnati. Yeah, it'll all be fine.
Yeah, no problems at all.
No problems.
Yeah. So what's the big thing for you, right? So here you are taking on this president role at the Cincinnati Chamber, and I mean things are great, things are awesome. You already said you're an optimistic person, and that's kind of part of the role.
Yeah.
What are some things that you're looking forward to? What's ahead? What should we be excited about with you?
Well, here's what I think people should be excited about. I think our theme for the next 5 years is going to be a big theme about growth, about how this is a growth community, about growing population, growing our economy, and growing cultural vibrancy in this community. And I know you talk to people who are deeply involved in cultural vibrancy. You've got a conversation coming up with Rico Grant, who's one of our cultural ambassadors to the world in terms of everything that he's been doing. But the point is, we are going to be really focused on growing every aspect of those pieces of our community. And so we're a city of, a region of 2.2 million people right now. We should start to think about what it would look like if we were 2.5 million people or 2.8 million people or 3 million people. How could we grow to attract that many people? What if we were the next city that hit it big, and people started to come here because we had great jobs and a great economy and great cultural offerings? The University of Cincinnati is attracting people by the tens of thousands to come to their university to study in some of their great programs, and I want them all to stay here. I want them all to find jobs here, build a life here, and build a family here. That will be better for all of us. Importantly, that level of growth, which we're going to talk about all of the time, when you look at it, that kind of growth helps everyone, including the people who are here, because a growing economy means more people who can move out of poverty into the middle class. It means more stable jobs. It means better access to health care. It means a government that functions well with police and fire and parks and rec, able to serve the people who are here. You need growth to make all of that happen. And so we're going to message that, and it's more than messaging, because it's working with our economic development partners to attract jobs and grow the kind of community events here that welcome people here, focusing on attracting talent here. All of those things pieced together, we have all of the pieces are in place for that kind of fast growth if we just are ready to take advantage of it. So we're going to talk about that a lot.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. We actually, so when you talk about UC and even talking about Xavier earlier, I love that you focus on our universities, because there's a lot of young people, and I feel like there's this interesting, interesting vibe about young people, and I love taking on, from a mentor-mentee perspective, bringing in new people into Resolve, or bringing new people into this marketing space, and kind of showing them you can do so much great stuff in this space here in Cincinnati. And I think that, they're so smart. That generation is so smart. If you think about even your daughters, my kids, they've grown up with technology their whole life. Yeah. Just imagine what they're going to bring to the workforce. I encourage it. We have a couple of interns here, some that are here now are from UC, and again, we've had them from Xavier too, but I look to them and I'm like, you guys help us produce this podcast. You make it cool. You put it on TikTok. Right. You help get those impressions, because as the kids say, what slaps or what hits or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't even know. Is that what they say?
Is that what they say, Steve? On the hustle, the kids say on the hustle, right? Or they slap.
No cap.
No comment. We have 4 interns right now at the Chamber from Xavier and Miami. They're and one from who's doing art school up in Cleveland, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think that kind of energy into an office environment, and then extrapolate that kind of energy into a city.
Exactly.
It makes you think that you can do big things.
Yes.
And so
yes.
The same holds true for what you're trying to do in a city. If we get 10% more of the UC students who come here from another place to stay here after they graduate, it changes the face of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
and same for Xavier and Miami and NKU and the Mount and all of our great programs.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, one of the things we talk about a lot, and I've gotten into this, but from Dayton to Northern Kentucky is how we are starting to talk about this region, and that's a little different. We've talked about the region largely in terms of our MSA, which is a metropolitan statistical area, 15 counties, whatever.
Yes. Thank you, Reddy, for educating me on that.
Yes. Yeah.
Gina Rittinger, shout out to Gina.
Yeah, shout out to Gina. We talk about it a lot. The MSA is important. The Dayton MSA is 3 more counties, and I think increasingly we should start talking about it as one mega region. We went to Dallas-Fort Worth with the Dayton Chamber last year. A group of us went down there to kind of study how they had been looking at the future, the growing region together. If we start communicating about Southwest Ohio and Northern Kentucky as this one big mega region, suddenly the number of students that we have is bigger, the media market's larger, the number of people, the GDP, it's all bigger. And frankly, in Texas, the idea of driving from Dayton to Cincinnati would be nothing. We need to think about this as one area where people are going up and down 75, jobs all along the highway. It's really important.
Do you think that ever there's a world where we have like a super train that like goes in the middle of 75 and just like connects that way?
I don't know.
Wouldn't that be kind of lovely?
It would be nice. I think that,
It's just futuristic thinking, right?
Yeah. Look, 75, we're focused on that bridge.
Yeah,
building
the bridge. Yes.
Building the Brent Spence Bridge, companion bridge is the most important thing. I hear from a lot of people who think it would be really great to have a train from the airport to downtown.
But realistically, how many people would actually use it? I have to think about that. I mean, I think it's kind of fun to think about, but I'm a driver. I know, again, Westchester to downtown was my commute for 12 years.
Yes.
Westchester to Evanston is now my new commute.
Yes.
And it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all.
It's not terrible.
No.
I think it's really hard and expensive to put, permanent rail in the ground. And then you have to figure out, is it going to work? How much are you going to have to subsidize it for the long run?
Yeah.
What we have done, which I think is important, is several years ago, we worked with the business community, civic community, community leaders to pass a pretty significant investment in public transit. And that has led to the metro bus system being more robustly funded, appropriately funded for a city our size. They're all over. Yeah. They're adding bus rapid transit along Reading Road and on Hamilton and Glenway. That's going to be really important because it's flexible.
Yes.
And so it can move with where people are and where customers are. It's more flexible than train, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect thought. Yeah.
But they've got, Metro now has 7, I think it's 7 or 8. I think it's 7 24-hour routes in our city.
Interesting.
And they connect to the airport. And so it's really important when you actually take a look at how far we've come at public transit in the last 10 years. That's a meaningful shift for us. And I think that's where we should spend our effort.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect answer. I just think it's funny to think about, my kids ask all the time, well, why don't we have a train? I'm like, we actually do have a train, and it'll take you to Chicago.
Amtrak, at 3 o'clock. You have to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning. We are working on that. We've my colleague Pete Metz, who leads our civic and regional partnerships efforts, he's been very involved in transportation for a long time. We've had conversations with Amtrak and other civic leaders. The idea being there should be a more frequent train that goes from Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, and then out to Chicago. Yeah. Making those connections will be good for kids in Miami. It'll be good for just traveling up and down the Midwest and the East. And so if we can do a better job funding that, I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I think that's fun. Yeah. I mean, one more comment about Dayton. It reminded me to bring up Cincinnati Children's Hospital, right? Number one in the nation.
In the nation, it was huge.
Huge, and they obviously they have built and opened now a regional hospital in the Dayton area, which made me think of it. But I mean, that's another huge win for Cincinnati, and they are celebrating all year round, which is awesome.
High point in my time so far as in the new role was the. Dr. Steve Davis, the CEO of Children's, invited me to that press conference to announce when they were number one. And to be there that day was not just fulfilling, and I was amazed. I was emotional. Anytime you walk in Children's Hospital, I feel like you are on a certain level of there's a certain level of tenderness there because you see families who've brought their kids there. You see looks in people's eyes where their, moms and dads are nervous. They're grateful. There's so much emotion kind of pulsing through that facility.
Yeah. Every side of the spectrum.
Every side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And to be able to walk in there that day and see all of the people who do it every day, who walk in there every day, I can't imagine what that would take from you and give to you. And to do it every day, and then to see them rewarded with the honor that means the most to them was really magic.
Yeah.
And they were everybody walking down the hallway was so excited. Everybody knew about it. They did something to brag on Children's, and Steve Davis and his team. The rankings for the award came out at midnight. And they did the rounds at midnight. So he had his whole executive team walk around and tell everybody who was working the overnight shift first.
Yeah.
Because they never get to hear things first.
They never get to hear those news first,
I
right?
loved that.
Yeah.
I was so proud of them.
Yeah, they were
I thought
passing
that
out
was amazing.
T-shirts.
It was awesome.
I know. It was so cool. Yeah.
Did you guys did you connect with them? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we actually did the video.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
no.
I should have known that.
No, it's fine. No,
I should have known.
No, I wasn't even going to say anything. No, to me,
it was a great video.
To our region,
the city history, the whole thing, it was so great.
That was us. Yeah.
It tied together like the history of Cincinnati, all of the firsts, and then this big first. It was phenomenal.
I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for being here
Oh,
and for
so much
talking
for
to
having
us and for us, we get to rediscover your story, hear about you, and we're just so happy that we're connected with
Thanks.
you. And of course, we're
Will
big
we
fans.
see you at the annual dinner this year?
Of course.
Can't wait.
Of course.
Can I say something about that
Yes,
before we do
yeah,
it? Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I know we're wrapping up, and then we'll say
No,
thanks.
you're
but,
good. You're good.
On January 29th, February 29th.
February.
Sorry, February 29th, the extra day in the year, we'll name 4 new Great Living Cincinnatians. It's one of my favorite chamber nights of the year. The stories of these folks who have lived an entire life of service and accomplishment in our community, and we get to honor them. And the team at Resolve, you help honor them with these videos that inevitably bring tears of joy or happiness, emotion to everybody in the audience. It's a magical night. And so if you're watching, pay attention to this. If nothing else, read the stories of these 4 individuals that we'll name, because they're people that you should look up to and admire and try to emulate in many ways.
Every year that we do that project, I learn so much. I end up making connections. Roger Howe and I are still connected. We still text. We still talk.
Such a nice man.
He's such a nice man. But just you learn from these great people. And I think it again talks about like the people we have here in Cincinnati, from young to old. There's just such great relationships and learning opportunities.
Truly.
And I'm always blown away by these stories. So thanks
Truly.
for bringing that up. I think it's
problem.
perfect.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here. See you soon.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to rediscover your own story, please connect with us at any of the links below. My name is Jessie Heron. Thanks for taking a break with me.